Hello, my name is Jeff Coots, and I'm from Jackson Independent. And my second KVET grant was called Coding Easy as Pie. And so last year I had begun teaching coding classes. It was the first time I'd ever got to teach one. Although I was relatively experienced with it, it was a bit new teaching kids on it. And so we found a website called code.org, and it really helped show students how to code. And although that was fantastic, they didn't actually see anything other than just what happens inside of the computer. They didn't really see that there's a real world connection with it, as opposed to just I type a little bit of code, something happens on the screen. And so my goal was to show them that these things are connected. The outside components of the computer are just as important when you're coding because it allows you to grow. It allows you to have a better understanding of what you're doing. And so that's essentially why I did it. I wanted them to have a more hands-on approach to coding rather than just saying, yeah, here's some code, that's it. I wanted them to actually see and to get that experience that I don't think a lot of other kids get. And so what we did, as I said, was essentially we started with code.org. We used that, and that was just to show them what coding looks like. It was just to give them a hands-on basis as to what they're doing. And then our goal was to start using the Raspberry Pi systems. And we were going to use those to show them all the cool things that it can do on the outside as well as on the inside when you're just straight coding using the actual Raspberry Pi system. As for how it worked, we had several issues, and it wasn't anything to do with the product. It was more over me making a mistake and not reading more into it because I knew Raspberry Pis were used for coding, and most computers I know, they are not only HDMI, they also use VGA, and that's something that our school had a lot of components for, but Raspberry Pi is a little different. It only actually works with HDMI setups, and so because of that, we didn't really have any monitors that worked. Instead, we had a TV in my classroom. And since it was rather difficult teaching it one person at a time, instead, my kids would try to find various solutions. We tried to use the Macs because they had a component where they had HDMI. We also tried the Chromebooks, but all of these kept having issues. And so because of that, we weren't actually able to do a lot with them. In fact, because of how many issues we had planned on using the fourth 9 weeks solely for just getting these up and running and begin working on it. However, because of the coronavirus, our schools began getting closed, and since this is an in-person kind of subject to use the Raspberry Pis, we really only had about 3 to 4 days that actually had good work with it. And although we had issues with it, the times that we did have were actually pretty beneficial.